first pitch. And don't forget, this week on Rockies Real Time, we're celebrating the 20th anniversary of Coors Field. From the construction and evolution of the park to the biggest moments that have happened on the field, we'll take a look at everything that has made Coors Field the best ballpark in the major leagues. It's coming up Friday after the game on Rockies Real Time. And as we welcome you back to center field, getting ready for baseball tonight, it's time now for our keys to the game, brought to you by Flatiron Subaru. Jeff, start us off.
Right the ship. Okay, 4-game losing streak's enough. Ride it tonight because you're playing at home again, and it's all going to start with the guy on the hill and Tyler Matzik. He did it the other day in San Francisco when he needed to pick up some innings for the bullpen. He did that. Chance now to go out there and dominate.
Yeah, and I'm going to say score first and get the ball rolling. This offense, put some pressure on the other team for once and take the pressure off of your team and relax and have fun. Like Jess said, let's get rid of this 4-game losing streak and let's move on to a 10-game winning streak.
That's right. Yesterday is over. Turn the page. It's a brand new day for baseball and for Rockies baseball. We're looking forward to it tonight with Tyler Matzik on the hill as we get set to bring you the ball game. Stick with us. We'll have first pitch coming your way next, right here on Root Sports.
Tonight from Coors Field, Game 2 of this 4-game homestand between the Rockies and the San Diego Padres. Welcome inside Coors Field, everybody. Rockies trying to snap a 4-game losing streak. And, of course, a tough night last night at the office as they fell 14-3 to the Padres. Good evening, everybody. Glad as always that you're along with us with my partner George Frazier. I'm Drew Goodman. Last night the Rockies obviously had a difficult night, and it began in a difficult way when they learned that Nolan Arenado would not be able to start the baseball game, a sore wrist, and he remains day to day. Also, Corey Dickerson had to leave the game fairly early on, plantar fasciitis in his foot. Quick update.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, both these guys probably available to pinch hit. They'd like to give him, obviously, a Nolan an extra day. Kind of felt like he could go tonight. I think it's smart to give another. You could see yesterday during batting practice the one swing. Dickerson last night hit a ground ball, came up limping immediately out of the ball game. And again, this is things, I'm not a doctor. I mean, you got to treat these things day to day more than anything. And I think that if they were hurt bad enough that they had to have the bench help and have it for tonight's ball game, they'd both be placed. So I think Keith's doing his work, Keith Duggar, the trainer's doing their work, he and Scotty Garrett, and getting it under control and getting it in a position to be ready to play.
Yeah, and that's the good news. It looks like, I talked to Nolan, I know you did as well. Nolan says, I'm going to play tomorrow, and Corey Dickerson took batting practice out on the field, so hopefully it's just one more day and they'll be back in there. Moving on to tonight's starting pitcher, Tyler Matzik will take the baseball for the Rockies this evening, and all he has to do is look back to last September and remember that he had great success. Now, it's a different Padre team, but he had his best game of his young career against San Diego a year ago here.
Complete game, 3-hit shutout. Yeah, he struck out 6 in the ball game. You go back to that ball game, had very good command of his slider. He had very good command of the fastball. He got him to chase the ball up and away, but only because he had a really good slider on that night, and that allowed him to get the strikeouts, 6 total in the game. He only walked 1. And you're right, it is a different lineup, but it's the confidence going against it. And the shower at the end, every last drop of it was enjoyable.
And LaTroy got every last drop on him. And you know what? We hope to see the same thing tonight. Clearly, the Rockies need length out of their starters, and one of the big parts of the equation this year for a Rockies team that we know is gifted offensively and defensively, the pen has improved, is this young rotation to step forward. And Tyler's one of those young guys that hopefully can make a couple of strides.
He's going to have to. I mean, he is. I mean, last year I thought towards the end he really settled in. He pitched very well. Obviously, from August on, he had a 5th best earned run average in all of baseball. So I think he settled into that part. His first game here at home, a little shaky. Opening day, come on. I mean, a young kid took the reins and did the best he could, but pitched well. San Francisco, very good, all because of the changeup. So that'll be a part of this ball game tonight, particularly with the heavy-loaded right-handed hits.
And one of the things that's interesting so far about Tyler, George, is his go-to pitch, in addition to the changeup, has been the slider. Even when he's behind in the cat, he'll throw a slider, not fastball.
Well, and I think the reason behind that is when you're a young kid and you get signed immediately, you end up getting, they're so worried about fastball command that you lose a little feel for the slider. I saw him in high school 7 different times. He had terrific secondary stuff. Now, once he established that, the next step is to get the curveball back, the slider back, the changeup back. I think spending a summer with Darryl Scott, who was his pitching coach in Tulsa a year ago, was huge for him, not only from the physical side of pitching, but also on the mental side of the game.
Well, I love his focus and his determination start to start. And the education continues this evening for Tyler Matzik. There's another young and gifted player, Will Myers, originally with Kansas City Royals, on to Tampa, and then traded in the offseason to San Diego. He'll lead things off. He's a very aggressive leadoff man because he kind of has a middle-of-the-order mentality. The rest of Bud Black's lineup is presented by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Derek Norris, catcher in that 2 spot. You don't often see it, but that's where he resides. Matt Kemp, Justin Upton, Will Middlebrooks in the new-look Padres middle of the order. Jed Jerko will bat 6th tonight, then Yonder Alonso. Clint Barmes has started 3 straight games. He is starting at shortstop against all the lefties. And the former Toronto Blue Jay, Brandon Morrow, will be on the hill.
And if you look back at Tyler Matzik, compared to a year ago till now, there's confidence gained in certain pitches that he didn't quite have a year ago. The fastball a year ago used it an awful lot. This year, not quite as much, but more with the slider. And I think that literally stems from the first outing where he didn't have fastball command and an awful lot of sliders thrown to get people out. But the changeup has become more prominent when he's on the mound. As we get into this ball game, we'll go over a couple of grips of what Tyler does with the slider and the changeup. And hopefully both of those pitches are working tonight against a very, very good San Diego lineup.
Here's the Rockies defensively, again without Dickerson in the outfield and Arenado at 3rd. So Drew Stubbs will get the start in center field. And Charlie Blackmon, who's normally in center field, will slide to left field. Cargo, of course, is in right. Rafael Inoa again at 3rd base. Tulowitzki LeMahieu up the middle. Morno's at 1st. And Nick Hundley, the erstwhile Padre, is behind the plate. So we're ready to go. I really like what Jason Hirsch and Jeff were talking about during the pregame show. their keys to tonight versus get an early lead, play with a lead, because when you've been scuffling a little bit and the Rockies have lost 4 in a row, it seems like you've been playing uphill. And if you can get an early lead, it starts with Matzik getting this offense to the dugout quickly. I think that will really help the this club and give them some momentum early.
Every coach will tell you when you're the home team, you like to have a very quick top half of the first and get in and get this offense busy. That is the biggest thing. If you look at Tyler and why he had success a year ago, with runners, with nobody on base, the opposition hit .333. The minute he got traffic, they hit a .158. So able to control that traffic and make the pitches to get out of innings was huge. His last 8 starts, 5-2, and an earned run average below 2.
What did we talk about a moment ago? When he gets behind in the count, it's not fastball, it's slider. 2-0, and he threw a slider for a strike. It's 2-1. And he goes back to it and he misses. 3-1 on Will Myers. 60 degrees our game time temperature, a little warmer than it was last night.
I think it's all a comfort zone for a pitcher, that feel in the hand of the baseball.
And ball 4. So Matzik walks Will Myers on 5 pitches. That'll bring up Derek Norris. Norris, like so many Padres, a big night last night, 3 for 5. When you have 14 runs, a lot of guys had big nights. 17 hits for the Padres yesterday. They scored 5 in the first, and that misses.
Not necessarily the guy you like to have at the plate right now, particularly facing left-handed pitching. 692 average so far on the year.
Isn't that something? Well, guess what? It's not going to be 692 all year, so
well,
start to shave some points off of it. Now Matzik not close. 6 of his first 7 pitches out of the strike zone. And Hundley's already gone through the whole repertoire. That was a changeup. He's gone naturally fastball. You've seen the slider. Now changeup.
Yeah, well, he's trying to find something he's comfortable with. A lot of times when you don't have the proper release point off the fastball, that's when you go to your secondary stuff.
Steve Foster wore out a path to the mound last night. He'd rather not make an appearance this evening. Been said so many times, George, about momentum and ending losing streaks and that sort of thing. It always in this game will begin with the starting pitcher. You set the table, if you will, for what's going to transpire.
Well, I think the important thing is obviously, misses again here, 3-0. It's such an important thing because when you have a good defensive team behind them, they go from being on their toes to their heels, just because of the continued not in the strike zone. And Walt, being a former shortstop, knows that more than anybody. I mean, it's just one of those deals where you try to get them through a game. I think the hardest thing for people to recognize, and I think too for a guy that becomes a manager or a pitching coach, is to not ever forget how hard it is to play the game. And I think that's where patience becomes a part of it. Can he get through that? I mean, you're one swing and a ball hit right at somebody in a double play. Hundley's trying to do all he can to make that fastball his command pitch tonight.
Yeah, he's lucky he got a swing on that because that was out of the zone. 3-2.
Similar pitch last night that Norris hit for a double down the right field line. It was a ball away from him. This ball had a little more giddy up on it, and a little higher up in the zone.
See if Myers is moving. He is. Strike 3. Throw to second. Strike him out. Throw him out. Well, that'll help. Great throw by Hundley to cut down Myers. So Matzik comes all the way back, strikes out Norris, And now 2 outs, nobody on.
Well, it's you can't get a better pick-me-up than this other than a ground ball to Tulowitzki. That ball on the inside half of the plate. Great throw by Hundley, right on the money to DJ, and the tag applied. He is now 2 for 8 in catching would-be base stealers.
We use this term all the time in baseball, right? Pick, you know, if I'm hitting in front of you and I make an out, you're going to pick me up. If I make an error and you're on the hill, you look over and say, I'll pick you up. Well, guess what? Nick Hundley just picked up Tyler Matzik.
Well, he really did, and that was a pitch, probably not a strike, but it was called a strike by Chad Fairchild. It had late cut and run to it.
In the air to left center field. Blackman cruising back. He's got room. Nice to have 2 center fielders out there, really 3 center fielders tonight. So it turns into a 1-2-3 inning. A rough beginning with the struggles with the strike zone, but it works out okay for Matzik. It's against Brandon Morrow. And let's take a look at this Rockies lineup. Charlie Blackmon naturally will be up top. Here's the rest of the Southwest batting order for Walt Weiss this evening. Tulo's going to slide up, batting that 2 spot. When Matzik is pitched, especially left-handers, period, you've seen the pitcher bat 8th, though De La Rosa last night did bat 9th. Cargo will bat after Tulowitzki, then Morneau. Hundley will bat 5th. DJ LeMahieu slides up into an RBI spot in the absence of Arenado and Dickerson. Drew Stubbs 7th, and Rafael Inoa will bat 9th after Matzik. Brandon Morrow is a guy with a big arm. He had a right finger hand injury, got that tendon sheath we've heard about in the past. He made only 13 appearances a year ago with Toronto.
Yeah, he did. Only 23 games total, 16 starts, 87 2/3. The last 2 years, it's been an injury plague type of career for him, but it is a very big arm. The #1 draft pick by Seattle out of the University of California. Had 110 career starts in his career. He's 38 and 33. How about this one? He's never beaten a National League West team, and it's no time to start tonight.
He's over the outside corner at 93.
Well, he'll run it up to 95, 96 at times.
He has touched 100 this year with his fastball.
Must have been a lot of wind blowing in. Had a split finger to go with it, slider, and a slow curveball.
0-2, and it's on the ground to second base. Won't get an easier play if you're Jed Jerko. 1 out. Troy Tulowitzki will be next. The Padres, one of their question marks is what kind of defense will they play over the course of a whole season. Upton, Myers, Kemp. The reports early on Myers have been very good in center field. Will Middlebrooks at third. Barmy's at short. Jerko, Alonso, and Derek Norris is behind the plate. Padres came into yesterday's game having committed 12 errors, which was the most in the National League. And Tulo takes a strike.
Can you imagine what it'd be like to throw a ball 100 miles an hour?
Well, you're the one who was a pitcher. You tell me.
Only time I threw 100 if I was in a cab.
Going really fast.
Yeah, holding the ball outside. There's no way.
George, here's something interesting. You bring this up. I've talked to a number of hitting coaches and some managers this year, and there's been some pieces now written about this. What was the adage for a long time? Run pitch count up on the starting pitcher on the ground, tough hop, and it goes past Middlebrooks. You can see that coming. Tulo may have a chance to get to second. He will. We'll see how that's scored. You can see that in between hop coming.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see Tulo get a hit here, but it almost looks like an error to me because Middlebrooks let the ball. They did give him a base hit, but it looks like Middlebrooks, what it looked like to me, he just let the hop play him. He knew this ball was hit hard. Second hop back, tried to sit there and pick it off to the side of the body, and a base hit for Troy Tulowitzki here with 1 out in the bottom of the first.
So a chance for the Rockies to do what Jason Hurst was talking about, get that early lead. A double for Tulowitzki. That's his 8th double of the year already. Really appreciate Arenado, not to pick on Middlebrooks, but he makes so many difficult plays. Cargo swings and foul tip, 0-1. To finish that story, or to at least start it, there's now this thought that if you get a good pitch to hit early in a count, heck, you'd rather face the starter, because in the bullpen now, starting in the 6th inning, it's a bunch of guys throwing 95 to 100. It's not just the closer anymore.
That's what everybody's building their bullpen around, is hard throwers, flamethrowers. Walt even commented in the spring training, he goes, I'm really happy with the way our bullpen sets up right now, because I've got a bunch of heat coming at the end of the bullpen. And that's what managers like. They have that ability to strike guys out at the back end of a ball game.
2 outs. It'll be left to Morneau. But remember, for years, hey, drive the pitch count up, take pitches, get the starter out of there. Well,
particularly here at Coors Field, that was basically Don Baylor's big thing. Is, hey guys, let's drive this thing up, get the pitcher into that 80 to 100 pitch count, work it deep with that starting pitcher. But then, you know, this day and age, you look back, San Diego's always had great bullpens. To the Chad Qualls days, of course, Hoffman was off the charts as a closer. Didn't do it with high heat, did it with a changeup. Darren Balsley was here as the pitching coach for a long time, but Black enjoys the bullpen he has now. To tell you the kind of depth that they have now, Despaigne, who pitched brilliantly last night, is going to the bullpen Saturday. How do you do that to a guy that's thrown, you know, what is it, ever it is now, 18 innings?
Oh,
almost 19. He's given up 9 hits.
Mentioned it last year. You saw that with Petit, really, the last couple of years with San Francisco. 3-0 on Morneau. Justin with runners on. That's not runners in scoring position. That's just runners on base, period. Since the start of 2014, has hit .350. And that was a pitch around. I think that was a situation, no disrespect intended at Nick Hundley, but Morrow saying, I'm going to go right on right, as opposed to going after the left-handed batting champion.
I don't care that he is hitting 222 or whatever it is. It's going to get better, and they know that. Not taking the chances.
Here's another part of that theory as to why you want to keep the starter in there, and you see guys taking less pitches. Guys like Mike Trout, who used to see more than 4 pitches in at bat, way down this year in the mid-3s. There's scouts who believe a lot of the really good athletes, instead of being position players, and certainly there are still some of those, are going the pitching route, figuring that you get to the big leagues quicker that way. The bottom line is there's a lot of guys who throw hard now.
Well, there is a lot of guys. You can see the scouts back there today. Dave Klipstein's in town. Pat Jones with the radar gun held up immediately.
On the ground is short, and the Padres get out of it. So Tulowitzki left on, as is Morneau. We'll go to the second, no score.
His changeup has evolved from last year's spring training. Nick Hundley said it has, and Walt Weiss said in his last start it was really useful.
I think it was something he went to in that outing in San Francisco to get him out of trouble and really help him settle in. You know, sometimes as a pitcher, when you get in a tough spot, it's better to take your foot off the gas as opposed to going harder, which is a natural tendency. But when you have the ability to take your foot off the gas, slow things down, a lot of times it's more effective.
And guys, Hundley said, you know what, if he's confident in throwing it in any situation, then I'm going to be confident in calling it. And George, you know all about that. Slowing it down, using the changeup to your advantage.
Well, slow the motor down more than anything. I think that's the key. And you know, with the changeup grip that he uses, it's a conventional circle change. And guys with really big hands, sometimes it's hard and difficult to get comfortable on the circle change. It's all about feel on a changeup. And so with Tyler, he takes the finger and makes a circle. This is why they call it the circle change now. Tom Seaver was the guy that started throwing this a long time ago with the Mets. But it's just 3 fingers over the top. When you want to create movement where you want the ball to fade, you take and put your fingers on top of the baseball. And you can see there that he has a 4-seam basic grip on his changeup. So, wow, that was crazy. What happened? Sam, what's going on with the telestrator? Anyway, I broke it. So anyway, that's a 4-seam change, which is going to be basically a pretty straight change. Good change up here from Tyler Matzik. And again, the slider is a very big part of it also. You know, and it's a matter with the slider grip. You try to keep it like a fastball. And I think it's actually a slider coming out of the hand. It is. You can see the rotation on that slider. The key to that is keep your hands on top of that. Once you can keep your hands on top, that's what's going to make the difference for you in all facets. And he does a really good job with that.
Strikeout of Upton. Will Middlebrooks hits it in the air to Cargo in right. 2 outs. Well, you hope that little hiccup where he was spraying the ball all over the place the first couple of hitters is a thing of the past, and he settled in after the strike him out, throw him out in the first inning.
Well, there's the changeup we talk about on the Subaru Supermo coming right out of the hand. See the key to that, how he stayed on top, and then the wrist came to the inside of the baseball, and still firm enough that he was a little late on that ball and hit it to right field. Nice part about it is now, I mean, he's throwing 18 pitches, 9 strikes, 9 balls. But he's got 2 quick outs here in the second. Try to finish this up in a hurry.
Jed Jerko takes ball 1. The West Virginia product, 4 for 7 lifetime against Matzik. Pitch just missed on the forward strike zone. Jerko, a powerfully built second baseman. Both of those pitches right on the edge. I know in LA, man, anything close was being called for a strike.
One of those days they had the early flight.
Well, it wasn't that. I mean, Kershaw and Greinke, as great as they are, they were getting 2 inches on either side of the plate.
Yeah, that's the difficult side. When they start giving that type of pitcher that type of range, man, it's tough to beat them. That was the old Maddox days. You know, Glavine, those guys getting 3 to 4 inches off the plate every time, or 2 inches.
If you're the opposition manager, you feel like going out there saying, hey, they're good enough anyhow.
Yeah, no kidding.
2-2. Chatting with Jed Jerko today around the batting cage, and I said, so what was your reaction back home in West Virginia when you're seeing the flurry of moves A.J. Preller was making? He said, I just kept getting more excited. I'm texting everybody. He said, I went from hitting 4th to hitting 7th, and I'm really happy about it.
Well, and that's one thing Bud Black talked about yesterday prior to the series with me in his office. He said, you know, the nice part about it is now I can move Jerko and Alonso down in the lineup. And now I've got a really formidable lineup all the way down to the bottom when you start trying to pitch to him.
He loses Jerko, so the second walk allowed by Matzik. And speaking of Alonso, that's who's coming to the plate right now. This guy's a gap-to-gap guy and a good hitter. Last year he struggled. But to Bud Black's point, George, if Alonso or Jerko, who struggled last year, but he's got a lot of pop, if they're hitting in the bottom third of your lineup, you do have a lengthy lineup. It is a deep lineup. Good pitch. It's amazing because Matzik just got to the big leagues, it seems like, and he's facing the Padres for the 5th time already.
Playing within that division, you're going to get a lot of action against the division. Yeah, got away with one there. For a left-hander that against left-handers, you throw that slider and you leave it over the inner half of the plate, you really get into their power zone there.
Yonder Alonso out of the University of Miami. Get the shake. That's for show. Nick wants a slider, and it's ground ball right at Tulowitzki. He'll run to the bag, and that's all for the Padres in the 2nd inning. Nice job, Tyler Matzik. No score, middle of 2. Is brought to you by your hometown Toyota stores. Let's go places. And by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Back at Coors Field on a Tuesday night, along with George Frazier and Mark Stout. I'm Drew Goodman. Rockies the second. We'll have DJ LeMahieu, Drew Stubbs, and then Tyler Matzik. 6, 7, 8 against the hard-throwing product of Cal Berkeley, Brandon Morrow. He's also a product, George, of that outstanding 2006 draft class.
It was a good one. Does awful lot of community work for diabetics. He was diagnosed with that. Type 1, I understand, right, Doug? We looked that up. Type 1 diabetic.
This ball's driven right, and Matt Kemp gets back and makes the catch. Did you see the shift in the outfield they had on? Will Myers, George, was closer to being a right fielder than a center fielder. He wasn't just in right center field. He could have shaken hands with Matt Kemp when that ball was put in play.
You look at the spray charts, and it's going to tell you that's where he hits the ball 90% of the time in the air, so that's where you're going to play it. If he burns me left, and, you know, the pitch away, play away, old routine.
Drew Stubbs is going to be able to put some at-bats together tonight, see if he can get it going. And
not a bad idea.
No, when you're struggling the way Drew is, try to get on base any way you can. It really started for him about the middle of March. And unfortunately for Drew, it's continued into the regular season. It seems every time he walks up there, he's behind 0-2. Stubbs so far this year is 0 for 12 with 7 strikeouts. And that's in there. First strikeout for Morrow, 2 outs. Matzik will come up. Rockies fans, you can join the conversation. Send us your thoughts and photos via Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. Use the hashtag Toyota Talk, and we'll get to as many of your Toyota Talk comments throughout the game as we can. I've told you many times, Matzik will give you a competitive at bat. One on Tyler. Top of the NL West. The Dodgers 9-3, then San Diego 9-5, Rockies and Arizona next 7-6. The Giants, the defending world champs, are 4-10.
Headache.
Giants have lost 9 of 10. Giants will be in here over the weekend. And Morrow strikes out Tyler Matzik in a 1-2-3 second inning. Set game 2 of 19 throughout the season. The Rockies looking to snap a 4-game losing streak. Drew Goodman back upstairs with an old friend. Katie Strittmatter's with us. Katie, if the name sounds familiar, Katie, the better half of Mark and Katie Strittmatter. Mark, a longtime coach and instructor in the Rockies organization. Is Mark out of town right now?
He is. He's in New Britain, Connecticut.
Checking on the AA team.
That's right.
So it's a little farther than it was last year when you just go to Tulsa and check on the AA club.
It is, but it's back home for him, so it's good.
That's right. Back in Jersey. It's all close, that tri-state area. Katie comes on every year with us to talk about Parkinson Awareness Month, which we're in the midst of. And Katie, you're very upfront about talking about your situation. You were diagnosed not all that long ago with Parkinson's. Tell us about that process for you.
I was diagnosed about, gosh, I guess 5 years now. I think the initial part is the hardest part, getting over that diagnosis, getting kind of the family all together and trying to figure out what's going to happen. You know, we've had some changes the last couple years. I had brain surgery, DBS, and that's been wonderful, and we're blessed to have had that. And so, you know, just taking each day as it comes. Every day is different. You don't know what to expect. So.
Well, Clint Barmes is a guy I know you know well, and he just burned his old team with his first home run of the year.
I'm happy for him. Not happy for
for
the Rockies.
I understand that sentiment. One of the best guys in the business, Clint Barmes. You just don't want to see him do it against the Rockies. He gotta look like a fastball over the middle part of the plate. I was kidding him before the ball game. I said, "You have game time pop." He said, "I'm the worst BP hitter going, but in the game, he'll show off from time to time." He had 23 home runs one year for the Rockies, so it's 1-0 San Diego. There's a whole group here tonight, is there not?
There is. There's a big group of people down in 117 just to kind of celebrate and get some awareness for Parkinson's. I was reading today on one of my emails that every 9 minutes somebody is diagnosed with Parkinson's. So, you know, I think no matter who you are, eventually you will know someone that's affected.
You had the same surgery that people will remember that Ben Petrick had, who caught for the Rockies and had such a promising career, cut short. And I know Ben is doing well, and
he's doing pretty good, and he's just an awesome friend to me. You know, to have someone kind of go before you. You know, he's kind of handled this longer than I have, and he's always there to answer questions or to kind of help guide us through things. And I can't say enough about him as a person.
For the folks looking in at home tonight, first advice, and then what can they do to participate this month and help out with Parkinson's research?
Advice would just be, you know, not everybody knows the symptoms the way I know them, but just to kind of keep your eyes open, because I'm sure there's somebody you work with or somebody around that has it. It could use a bit of support. Mark's dad has it too, so we're kind of doubly affected in dealing with that in our family. And coming up in June is the big Parkinson's Vitality Walk. It drew like 2,000 walkers or something last year. It's going to be Sunday, June 7th. It's a great event and a great way to kind of get that awareness, and you'll see every age, you know. That's June 7th. Is there a website people can go to? There is. It's www.parkinsonrockies.org. Parkinsonsrockies.org. Yes, it's the Parkinson's Association of the Rockies. So you could Google that as well. Good. It'll bring you there. Good deal. 2 outs at the plate is Derek Norris. What kind of advances have they made in the last several years? You know, I wish there were more. I think, you know, surgery for me has been a blessing and a miracle, and I'm grateful that I had access to it. Not as many people, I think, as they would like to are pursuing surgery. It's brain surgery, so it's a scary thing. You know, recovery is pretty significant, but as far as, you know, in my opinion, it's a life-changing surgery, and so, you know, that's as far as they've gotten as of right now. I hope it gets better, but I'm pretty happy with where I am. I'm in a good place. Yeah, good for you, Katie. Yeah. And I know Ben has said the same thing when we've had the occasion to have conversations with him on how much that surgery has improved his life. It has. And you have to admire someone's strength. I mean, it's not easy for me to even walk into the room without crashing into things, but to go from this level, being a professional athlete with so much talent, to, you know, the struggles that he's faced and the way he's faced it is just, he's an incredible person. This ball's pretty well hit to left field. Blackman going back, and he's going to have to field it off the wall. Derek Norris will have a 2-out double in front of Matt Kemp. This is a slider. He's trying to get it toward the back foot. You can see Norris was a little out in front, but still able to barrel it. Now you got to deal with Matt Kemp. A run in on the home run by Clint Barmes. So here in the top of the third, it's 1-0 San Diego. How many people are at the ballpark tonight? I'm not actually sure. I haven't been over there yet, so I have to go say hello to everybody.
it looks like a pretty good turnout. It's the only part of the ballpark that's pretty full. So
it seems to me that, you know, this disease has got so much more attention. You hate to say this, but when a really famous person gets attached to it, and Michael J. Fox and all that he's done, and I give him a lot of credit. I don't know him obviously, but from afar, because very upfront. And I know that, you know, Ben has gotten to know him. That's a base hit, and Blackman comes up throwing. See if they can get Norris at the plate, cut off, and now they have Kemp hung up. So the run will score, and they'll tag out Matt Kemp, and 2 runs come across. Katie, one more time, give us that, because the walk's coming up June 7th. Give that website for people.
It's www.parkinsonrockies.org.
Very good. It's great to see you. I'm glad
Nice
you're doing
to
so
see you.
well.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Always. Best of Mark.
Thank you.
Okay. Katie Strittmatter, 2-0 Padres. Get a home run from Clint Barmes, and then a double from Norris and a single from Matt Kemp. They have a 2-0 lead as the Rockies bat in the bottom of the third. 9-1-2. Rafael Inoa hitting in that 9 spot. And at third base, Will Middlebrooks had shortened up on the grass, and with the first pitch in there for a strike, we'll see if he backs up a little bit. He's kind of staying put. Morrow in the early going this year, George, just a different guy than a year ago when he was battling the finger issues. 13 starts, or 13 appearances, 6 starts last year. An ERA well above 5. So far 129 this year in 2 7-inning performances.
Guy's been very special. I mean, that's the one thing everybody kind of had somewhat of a concern, not a whole lot. He just hadn't pitched a lot of innings, 89 2/3 the last couple of years, but obviously he's shown that he can handle the workload early here.
And another ground ball. 1 out. Charlie Blackmon will take his turn. Who wants tacos? When the Rockies score 7 runs in a game or more, go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations the following day between 4 and 6 in the afternoon and get your Rockies taco special, La Masa Taco Bell. Blackmon got off to a slow start results-wise. Felt like he was swinging the bat well, didn't have much to show for it, but the last 8 ball games, he's hitting .379. In fact, Charlie last night had a triple to drive in a run in the 9th inning. Drove in Descalso, who had walked.
The other pitch he'll use, and I think he'll probably be pretty prominent here, is the split finger changeup. Only because it has the downward action on it. That's where you get a lot of those ground ball outs. And you can see him preset it in his glove prior to. As we take a look at Derek Norris, see where he goes, wants to go fastball away, outside corner. Now let's take a look at what he offers when he's out on the mound. He likes to utilize the fastball slider predominantly. The splitter comes in more than the cutter. So you'll see him start to use the split finger an awful lot, particularly against left-handers. For whatever reason, right-handers more comfortable throwing the split. See if we get a look at it right here. Yep, sure did. Good pitch too. 84 miles an hour. You want that changeup to be anywhere from 8 to 10 off of the fastball. You can see it come right out of the hand, a tumbling action straight down. Very good body and arm action with the pitch. Got Charlie out on his front foot.
Talking to Justin Warno about that pitch, he said that's one of the toughest pitches to decipher out of the hand.
Well, because you don't see the grip. You know, you don't see the hands are too much wide of the ball or less wide of the ball, and it's just a different look coming out of the hands. And you know, he has the same style type delivery as what we saw last night with Despaigne, with that shoulder turn at the top, hides the ball a little bit longer.
2-2. 3-2 on Blackman. But thanks again to Katie Strittmatter for dropping in. National Parkinson's Awareness Month. Big walk coming up to raise money on June the 7th. Parkinson'sRockies.org is how you can find out more information. Here's the 3-2. And this ball's in the air to Upton and left. Her husband, Mark, working with the catchers in New Britain right now. Tommy Murphy's a good-looking catcher. He's hitting 390s, DHing tonight for New Britain.
A couple of home runs, too. He's swung the bat very well there. Calling all college students. College night at the ballpark, Friday, April 24th. Packages include a rooftop ticket. Oh, man, don't want to miss this. Concession credit and sunglasses. Visit Rockies.com/college for more information. Yeah, we're looking at you, too. Look at the size of those binoculars, Drew. What do you think?
He may be able to catch an at-bat in New Britain tonight.
That's just going to say, it looks like something the CIA would use. Look at those things.
That is officially the largest set of binoculars I've ever seen.
The only ones I've seen bigger were on a tripod. You couldn't hold them up.
Hey, check this out. Look what's going on in Kansas City at Kauffman Stadium. Swing and a miss from Tulowitzki, 2-1. Troy's hit 12 of 14 games this year. In fact, Tommy Murphy was the Eastern League Player of the Week last week.
And now he's showing off. He's doing the one eye thing.
It's in there, 2-2.
Yeah, Tommy Murphy's off to a great start there. Trevor Story's off to a great start.
Trevor's hitting 356. There's the numbers that earned Murphy, excuse me. I tried to marry the two together there.
I understood that.
Murphy, Player of the Week honors.
Well, one of the things you like about that, too, he's got 6
Stay
walks.
fair. It's not going to, though.
6 walks also out on that. That's the other side of that. Seeing a lot of pitches. Have a good at-bats. I wonder if that guy around the corner on the concourse 440 feet away thought a ball would be coming in.
Probably not.
I don't think so. That was the split finger at 87. Going away from him.
And it's on the ground at Barmes. 7 in a row retired by Brandon Morrow. As we go to the 4th, the Padres leading 2-0. Rock Springs, Wyoming. Thanks for watching the Rockies on Root Sports. Be sure to tell us where you're watching from on Twitter at @RootSports_RM. So whenever we mention the state of Wyoming, it's obligatory that we give you a shot at the Cowboy at the very least, and Huey if we can.
Hey, that's 2 Hall of Famers right there.
That is.
This one's in the Hall of Fame.
He's
Baseball
in
Hall of
Cooperstown.
Fame.
On the
This
right.
one's going into the Hall of Fame in Wyoming. How cool is that?
Yeah, congrats to Huey on going in this fall, going into the University of Wyoming Hall of Fame.
I think he told me September the 23rd, I think.
It's in September. They do a whole weekend. They'll have a big banquet, make the announcement at halftime of the football game.
Yeah, it's really neat.
Justin Upton struck out his first time. And it's quickly 0-2. Now you're in a bunch of Hall of Fames. You're in the Missouri Hall of Fame.
Missouri, Southwest Missouri High School Hall of Fame. Yeah.
What about OU?
No, they don't have one.
Make a phone call?
They don't have one.
They don't have a Hall of Fame?
Not for baseball. No, they don't.
Really?
No. Very honored. People would think enough of me to do that. So pretty neat. They started the Hall of Fame at our high school a couple of years ago. Myself, Keith Drumright, Kelly Schneider, and our longtime coach Dick Birmingham, the past couple of years ago, was in first induction class.
Well, your senior year of high school, they could have put half the team in the Hall of Fame,
Yeah,
couldn't they?
Yeah, you know what? I love tagging along with those guys.
What was seven drafted?
7 seniors, 5 drafted, and 3 of us played in the big leagues.
That is really amazing.
Yeah, we're pretty lucky. Keith Drumright made it with the Cubs in Houston. Bobby Deathridge, 3rd-round pick by the Dodgers, made it to the big leagues with the Kansas City Royals. Kelly Schneider was 3-time All-American at Oklahoma, I think, or 2-time All-American. He was stuck behind Mike Marshall and then Ken Herbeck.
2-2. Back up the middle, knocked down by Tyler, and plenty of time to get Justin Upton at first. 1 out, and that'll bring up Will Middlebrooks. I know your late brother was a great athlete.
Really good football player.
Great
great football player. Was all-state 2 ways, football and defense, and absolutely. Fun to watch him play. 6'4" shortstop. It's fun. Fun time growing up. 20 acres, had a football field, a basketball court in the back, and a batting cage in the back. But when you only had chickens and hogs to throw BP, you know you needed something, right?
Not bad. Middlebrooks takes outside. He had a fly ball to Cargo his first time up. This guy's got a lot of power. Yeah, you talked to Bud Black about this yesterday. I did a little bit today. The change for him in managing, because he had to hit and run and do all he could to try to beat you 2-1. They just played so many of those 2-1, 3-2 kind of ball games, and as Bud pointed out, it wasn't just at Petco. It's it's at AT&T. It's in Los Angeles at Dodger Stadium. And it wears on you. Now, he said, I don't exactly want to sit back and just wait for the 3-run home run every night, but you can let the guys swing it.
Well, he feels like he's back as being the bench coach for the Angels when they were really good with Mike Sosich, scored a lot of runs. He's finally getting a lineup to have a little justice to be able to play with for a while. And feels very comfortable doing it. A.J. Prowler, the new general manager, is here on the road trip traveling with the ball club. Third walk in the ball game for Tyler. None of the walks have come back to haunt him yet. Let's hope this one doesn't.
Jerko walked his first time. Almost an even split. 54 pitches into the ball game, strikes and balls, and obviously that's not what Tyler's looking for. 2-0 Padres. They got both runs last inning. Home run by Barmes, and then Kemp drove in Norris, who had doubled. That's foul.
I was at it real early today, and I was watching Middlebrooks. We were out throwing the football around a little bit. He had a chance to go to Texas A&M as a quarterback and a punter. Man, was he hitting some boomers in here.
In fact, he committed to play both at Texas A&M, but instead signed with the Red Sox.
Well, when you punt from the foul line, it ends up next to your bullpen in center field. That's pretty good. In the air.
Yeah, those really good athletes end up getting paid, huh?
Well, one way or the other.
Two and two. Was there a better two-sport athlete than Bo Jackson?
No.
There goes Middlebrooks, and the throw to second, not going to get him.
Got a big jump, huge jump. Second stolen base for him on the year.
And that's where Bud Black is still managing, but you know what? You're up a couple of runs. You can do something like this.
Well, absolutely you can. Straight steal, never look back. Middlebrooks didn't. And, just got in above the tag there. You see this right here. The tag applied. I mean, the ball got there about the same time. DJ received the baseball, then foot hits, tag applied. Very close play.
Three and two on Jerko. And that's the fourth walk. Does set up the possibility of a double play with Yonder Alonso coming up.
Hard ground ball hit to Tulowitzki. He was able to step on the bat and get out of it. A hard ground ball here and flip the double play.
Again, way off the plate. This is what's frustrating for Tyler. The two guys on base haven't earned their way on. 4-pitch walk to Middlebrooks, and then the walk behind it to Jed Jerko, came in hitting 171. You know, if you pitch around Matt Kemp or Justin Upton, okay. But when you get to the bottom of that order, you got to get outs.
Well, you got to respect their power, but you can't pitch around it the whole time. You know, in other words, stay out of that middle half end where Jerko can hit a ball out of the ballpark, utilize some of that power. Now, last night I know he took a ball into right field, a fastball away from him, but you just can't pitch that far off the zone.
Two and two. One theme that has stayed constant so far for Tyler this year in his 3 starts is the inconsistency to locate the fastball. He's pitching more with a slider than he is with his fastball.
Yeah, exactly.
Slider changeup.
Yep, he sure has, and it's because the fastball's been off. I mean, it's a good example of it here.
Should get 2 here. Nice feed, DJ to Tulo. Well done. 4-6-3.
That's a highlight double play.
Yep, but you're so used to DJ with that great range.
The glove flip. Flip out of the glove on over to first base to end whatever the Padres had going. It's 2-0.
Got the Rockies off the field after the pair of walks by Tyler Matzik. Take a look at it again.
Yeah, really nice play here. A couple of hops, has to dive, and then it's a glove flip perfectly to Troy, and then on the first base for the double play. Able to flip that. Boy, what does that save you an awful lot? But he got the gold glove sitting up the middle.
So Cargo trying to warm up. He's been struggling. He's just 2 for 19 at Coors Field this year. Shift is on. And the first pitch is in there for a strike. DJ has the helmet on because he's hitting 6th tonight out of his normal spot in the batting order of 8 with Arenado and Dickerson looking on. 1-1. Play. 1-2.
Schedule a group outing at Coors Field. Get discount scoreboard recognition whenever you bring your group out to the ballpark of 25 or more people. 303 Rockies, Rockies.com/groups. I tell you, folks, not a better place way to spend the night. You know, watching some Rockies baseball. Bring your grade school, high school, put a group together, come out and see it. That cutter got right in underneath the label and blew the bat up.
Splitter count. Here's the 1-2. They go fastball, and Cargo did just enough to keep the at bat alive. Morneau on deck. Rockies have been held to 1 hit. That was a Tulowitzki double. It kind of bounced over the glove of Will Middlebrooks in third. Could have easily been called an error. The Rockies have been held in check. This ball's hit hard. Look what Jerko came up with.
You feel like you're bit now. Holy cow. Got off-speed pitch. You got to head out. There's the line drive. 1 hop line drive right at Jerko, and able to just pick it. That ball hit on the Subaru Supermo. You turn your body to the side, tried it to deflect some of that heat. Jerko came up with a good play.
Morneau walked in the first inning. Was the last guy to reach. The Rockies had first and third with 2 outs. Nick Hundley hit a ball on the ground to Barmes, who flipped to Jerko to end the inning. A lot of ground balls with Morrow. Take you back. This guy's a really gifted guy. I mean, after all, he was originally the 5th pick in the draft in 2006 out of Cal. Back in 2010, he threw a 1-hitter against the Rays. Evan Longoria had the only hit. It was an infield hit. He struck out 17.
Yeah, this is not a guy that just happened to show up in a uniform. I mean, there's a lot of people have been wanting him a while. Way to go to the chip. Opposite, shoot it through the hole in the left side of the infield. Base hit for Justin Morneau. Yeah, just a nice job of hitting the baseball. You see their middle infield kind of pulled over, everybody going this way. So then you try to shoot it past that left side, not thinking he'd be able to do that. This guy that can really handle the bat.
So with 1 out, Nick Hundley at the plate. No play for Alonso. Toronto had an $8 million option on Morrow. They declined it. They paid $1 million buyout, and the Padres signed him for $2.5 million. 1-1 on Hundley. This driven to right and laying out, can't get it. Kemp runs to the corner. Morneau had to hold up and runs around toward the scoreboard. Justin's going to score. Heading to third is Hundley, and he'll round third and stop there. It's a 2-1 ball game. Nick Hundley fired up.
Well, what was going to be a double turns into a triple, and you can't really blame this early in the ball game Matt Kemp, but he wasn't able to get to this. Hit on the line, diving right at the last second, not able to get there. And then it's off to chase the rabbit, and then watch Hundley run around a little bit. You see on the slow-mo that it doesn't come up with the catch. Morneau's trying to make sure he doesn't get it. Then he's off, and he's going to pick up Stu Cole. Stu Cole's going to send him, and right behind him, Nick Hundley scoots into third base to scoring position with 1 out.
Great opportunity, obviously, for the Rockies to tie it up. Just get it in play somewhere in the middle of the diamond. Padres naturally conceding the run up 2-1. Infield's back for Nick, his first triple since 2012, his 12th career triple. And it comes against his former team. DJ's been so good in these situations. Inside, 1-1.
In on the corners, back in the middle of the infield. They're giving you the runs. Think back up the middle. Even if the ball's on the ground, you're still going to get a run out of this.
He had a good at bat against Morrow in the second. He lined out to pretty deep right field.
Yeah, you can see now. I mean, Kemp's hugging the line and right. Myers playing over in the right center.
Good job.
Yep, very good at bat. Tying a ball game up.
2-2. Nicely done, DJ LeMahieu.
Just a .583 average with runners in scoring position. That's good for 5th in the National League. Carpenter Holiday at .714 right now.
He just knows how to play, George. I mean, he's as fundamentally sound a baseball player as you'll find, DJ LeMahieu. 2-2. DJ's 9th RBI. That's pretty impressive considering he's normally hitting 8th or 9th. Want to know on Stubbs. Stubbs hit 15 home runs a year ago. Two.
Not where he wanted it. He wanted that ball in the inner half, but it was over the plate. Norris had set up way in underneath Stubbs, and then it fastball away.
And Drew Stubbs may be as frustrated as he's ever been in what has been a very good career. Punches out for the second time today, 9th time this year. Nick Hundley with a triple down the right field line, and the Rockies end up plating 2. It's a 2-2 game as we go to the 5th.
Rafael Ynoa getting the start at third base tonight because Nolan Arenado has that sore wrist, so he's down again. Let's show you Ynoa's resume. 773 games at a minor league level before he came up last September and impressed the Rockies. He made the team out of camp this year. He was in the Dodgers organization since they signed him back in 2005. I asked him what the difference is between L.A. and Colorado.
It's way different because I spent a lot of years there, and they never trust my abilities, so it takes the Rockies for giving the opportunity, and I'm here.
Played more games at second than at third where he is tonight. He can also play short, and guys, he's even been working in the outfield since spring training on an emergency basis. So if that was needed, it could go in the outfield.
Well, if you're a utility guy and you're getting groomed as such in the minor leagues, George, you remember that there are guys that they know that that's going to be their role if they get to the big leagues. You better have 3 or 4 gloves and know how to play everywhere if you want an opportunity to stick up here.
No question. And I think what really got everybody's attention more than anything else, Drew, was what he did with the bat. I mean, this guy hit well over 300 in his call up in September. Played a couple of positions, which was really good. There's a lot of different things about him that was there to like. 509 games started at second base, 197 at shortstop, and 49 at third. He's playing third here tonight.
3-2 on Barmes outside, and that's another walk. Matzik just playing with fire. That's 5 walks tonight for Tyler. This is a tremendous hitting lineup. Morrow in a situation where one would assume he's going to bunt. 3 walks in the last 4 hitters, in fact, for Matzik. As we discussed so much last night, what was an ugly affair, the Rockies had to eat up 7 innings out of their bullpen.
And it makes it really difficult on you. I mean, you just can't have one of those, like, let's say, once a week. Once a month, that's something else. But once a week, you can't have those. And I mean, you really tax that bullpen. Long article in the Denver Post today about the number of innings thrown by the bullpen.
It's 2-0. I mean, you're trying to let Morrow bunt the baseball.
Now, first pitch, go belt high and above. You hope they pop the ball up.
And that misses. It's 3-0.
Kind of the bugaboo that ate up Tyler at the minor league level was the walks. And they had not shown up a year ago. They've shown up a little bit more this year. You wouldn't be surprised to see him take another one.
That missed. That's a walk to Morrow. That's 6 walks, 2 on, nobody out. You got the top of the order coming up. The Rockies just tied it up.
14 innings, 10 walks now for Matzik on the season.
Butler, another young pitcher, though Eddie pitched much better in Los Angeles. He's dealt with a high number of walks also. He can simplify and go out there, hey, throw strikes. I mean, he's trying to throw strikes.
Yeah, that's one thing about it. I mean, you're exactly right. Some people say, go out there and throw strikes. What do you got going on here? But when you start to lose the feel for not only just the fastball, but then the other pitches that follow along with that, boy, that's when it gets really tough.
Will Myers a walk and a ground ball to third. That misses, ball one. Two and 0. The Padres, believe it or not, and Philadelphia, the only two teams to have issued more walks than the Rockies coming into the ball game.
If you're going to issue walks, you got to look at double plays, and you also got to look at hits per innings. If the hits are down, you're turning double plays. I mean, the walks don't hurt you as much. You got a fastball up, belt high, and trying to hit it back to his old ballpark in Kansas City. Had a very big swing.
In the air to shallow right. Cargo coming hard. He's going to have to wait, and the throw goes to the plate. And now they have Barnes hung up. Low throw. Hundley able to recover and get the out. Wow. Barnes got a good read initially. He knew that ball was going to drop, but then he got caught between third and the plate. The Rockies, George, just caught a huge break.
Yes, they did. A monster break. There's no question about it. And with the pitcher running at first base, nothing else was going to be able to transpire. Off the end of the bat, big swing. Cargo played this safe. He didn't just relay it in. He fired it in to Nick Hundley, and Barmes had come around, alertly threw back over to Noah. Got lucky there. That ball was in the dirt, and Hundley able to block, pick, and make the tag. You see Barmes right here, and you see Hoffman pointing back at the bag. You know, don't be going anywhere here. You know, Clint runs himself into an out here.
One out. Derek Norris, a double in the third, and a first pitch strike. 9-2, 5-2 on the putout. Cargo gets an assist. How about that throw, by the way? 0-1 on the catcher, Derek Norris. 0-2.
Not only was it a big play and a big save for the Rockies and Tyler Matzek, but the save by Nick Hundley behind the plate on this throw from Noah. Look at this. A backhand flip comes right back up to him. How fortunate were you there? That ball skips by and the run scores.
(0-2) and the slider on the outside portion of the plate. Norris went out there and fouled it off. Slowly hit to third. He knows he's got one play. Now doesn't have
Now, as he collected the ball into the glove on that, he's looking at second base thinking, am I going to have time to get Will Myers? And by that time, trying to hunt the grip down on the baseball, just rolled out of the glove. And he's trying to think two instead of think one and get 2 outs in the inning. Exactly what happened. The ball's tapped right here. Slow roller. Perfect hop to it. See him glance, though. He looked to second and then not able to recover as the ball came out. You watch his head right here as he started to look over towards second. Do I have a play there? Oh, I don't have the ball. I don't have a play anywhere.
And about the last guy you want to see is at the plate. Matt Kemp. RBI single in the third. Kemp hitting .373. and he's driven in 14 this year. In his career, he's a .334 hitter against left-handed pitching. You don't want to hear any more stats.
I don't. I really don't. Good hitter, though. Tyler's been 6 of 19 first pitch strikes in this game.
1-1. He dropped the slider in on Kemp. Just caught the outside corner. One out in the 5th inning. 2-2 game. Bases full of the Padres right now. To short, should be 2. There's 1. There's 2. Living dangerously is Tyler Matzek, but the Padres kept off the board. Help from Carlos Gonzalez and Nick Hundley, and then his middle infield. 2-2. Is brought to you by the Ford Escape. Smart, safe, and fun to drive. Ford Escape, go further. By Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by CenturyLink, your link to what's next. Rockies and Padres tied up at 2 as we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. The Rockies 2 runs, 3 hits, and an error. 2 runs, 4 hits for San Diego. Matzek, Rafael Inoa, and Charlie Blackmon. Again, Corey Dickerson and Nolan Arenado held out again tonight. Both took batting practice. Both ran around defensively. Both hope to play tomorrow. Matzek takes ball 1. 62 pitches in for Brandon Morrow. When he first came up with the Seattle Mariners, they used him out of the pen and eventually as their closer.
Well, they wanted to take that power arm where it hadn't worked as in a starting rotation. They'll say, hey, let's run this thing out of the bullpen, see what happens. Short inning stints. That's not the plan with the Padres.
1-1 on Matzek. We've talked so much about the walks, unfortunately, tonight with Tyler. That was an issue a year ago for Morrow, but not so far this year.
No, he's throwing the ball over the plate. And some of that maybe changes scenery, changes maybe a tweak, move to the right side of the rubber, stay in the middle, whatever they may have changed. But obviously it's paying off.
Back up the middle and a base hit for Matzek.
He was hitting 500 before he came into this ball game, so now leadoff single here in the 5th.
Guess what? He's still hitting 500.
Still hitting 500. The Colorado Rockies home run for the Homeless 5K is Sunday, May 3rd. Go to Rockies.com/5K for more information and to register. Boy, if I was in town, I'd do that.
George, if I saw you, I know you do all you could to help the cause, but if I saw you run, I would be concerned.
You'd have to go back to 1987, Game 4 of the World Series. That's the last time this body moved faster than a slow crawl.
You know, a show's bunt. I tell that story all the time. I said my partner, last time he ran, he jogged in the 87 World Series.
That's right. When I jogged Zinal out, I jogged over to the dugout. Well, I may have taken a couple of quick steps on a crossover, but I didn't run any distance longer than 15 feet. I can tell you that. Probably need to, just can't.
That misses, and it's 2-0.
Well, he's wore out that outside corner. That's why he kind of looked in at Chad Fairchild. Been getting that the whole game. Don't tighten it up now.
He's been pitching primarily with that fastball. A year ago, he walked almost 5 hitters per 9 innings. This year, it's down around 2. Noah had a good pitch to hit there. Fouled it back. 2-2. How about this? Tim Wheeler's had a great start. We were talking last night again about Albuquerque. Wheeler hits a slam tonight. He's got 10 ribbies in 5 games for the Isotopes.
Oh, it's great to see for him. Hit over 30 home runs in Tulsa. He set a Tulsa record there when he hit 33, and everything just kind of disappeared for a while.
This is going to be a tough play, and safe at first is Noah. An infield hit, first and second, nobody out. Good hustle by Rafael.
It's a matter of just playing the game the right way, and that's what Noah does. Watch the hustle up the line right at the last second. He dives to the finish line and beats the throw there. The flip by Jerko. Not going to be in time. Just kind of a hit or miss play anyway. And he is safe by a good 1.5 feet. And now you got the top of the order and a chance to put the Rockies on top. For tonight, the Padres 2 for 5 with runners in scoring position. The Rockies are 0 for 3. Charlie looking to change that.
Ryan Spilborghs always talks about this particular situation when you have first and second, nobody out, and a lot of times from a hitter standpoint, it's like, how do I succeed? Because if I put it in play hard on the ground, it's a double play.
That's exactly right. I mean, that's a tough spot to hit in right now.
I hit it in the air, nobody advances, and that's why oftentimes putting a bunt down, even for a guy that can drive the ball out of the ballpark, is not a bad play.
I'll tell you one thing I've noticed in baseball the last 4 or 5 years. Not many left-handers have the ability to take the ball up the first base line on a bump for a base hit. Everything's up third baseline.
I think.
And you look now, and it's just me talking, but I mean, I'm watching, and Alonso's 15 feet behind first. Charlie take that ball up the first baseline, you got bases loaded. I just don't see many guys doing that anymore.
Being able to take that bunt with him. 0-2. 1-2. Got the right guys at the plate. Blackman's been swinging the bat very well. Tulo's off to a fabulous start. Brooks Brown has gotten up in the Rockies bullpen. By the bottom of the 5th inning.
By the way, you mentioned that about Wheeler. He's got 15 RBIs on the year now.
This ball ripped to right. It's going to take a hop and kiss off the wall. Madsick will score. Noah gets a green light. Here he comes to the plate. It's a triple for Blackman, and the Rockies have a 4-2 lead. Atta baby Chuck Nasty.
Now, for me, this is a lot of maturity by a hitter, meaning Charlie Blackman, because he had a 2-strike count. Morrow threw the fastball in underneath his hands, and it was called the ball. This time, a different type of pitch, but he's trying to run that fastball back in again. He misses his location by 18 inches, and Charlie makes him pay some 350 feet away from home plate. There's a couple of runs to cross, and Chuck hustles into third base. And with nobody out and Troy up, not a good situation for Brandon Morrow. A great one for the Rockies.
Tulo hits a high fly ball to plenty deep right field. Kemp will make the catch, won't even bother trying to throw it in. It's 5-2. So Tulo drives home Blackmon. And the Rockies taking advantage of the base hits by Matzik and Inoue to begin the inning.
A huge way of taking advantage of those, and then Chuck with that big triple, and a very good at bat by Troy Tulowitzki. Just concentrating on getting the ball in the air, getting it deep enough to the park, just like the at bat that DJ LeMahieu did with the infield back. He took advantage of it. Chuck with the big base hit, followed up by Troy's fly ball to right. 5-2 ball game.
Cargo is twice grounded out to second.
Yeah, that last one was scalded.
Yeah, Jerko almost lost his glove fielding it. Fastball's away, ball one on Carlos Gonzalez. 7 ribbies now for Charlie Blackmon. He drove in 72 last year, primarily hitting leadoff. That's a big number from that spot in the lineup.
Well, you get out of a bases loaded jam, and you come right back in, and your offense picks you up. A lot of walks in the game, not many hits for the Padres, just 4. They've had 10 base runners today. Go along with those 6 walks, and 1 error by Noah, so that's 11. They've been able to handle it pretty smoothly.
That's about taking advantage of opportunities. The Rockies have done that. The Padres have not. Two and two. Cargo in a funk of late. Trying to extract himself from it. Got off to a terrific start in Milwaukee. What a big hit from Blackmon. This ball is in the air to left field. Upton, a long run's going to get there. I want to show you something, and I keep every stat now, you know that. One of the things they're able to chart is exit speed off the bat. In other words, how hard does the ball come off the bat? This is really interesting. If ball's put in play, this was going into yesterday's ball game. Carlos Gonzalez had put 7 balls in play that came off the bat at more than 100 miles an hour. Next on the list was Nolan Arenado. That's not Charlie Blackmon. Troy Tulowitzki was 3rd at 3, and Dickerson also had 3. Rosario had a couple. Now think about this. Cargo came into yesterday's game hitting in the low 200s. So he hasn't had a lot of hits, yet he still, it gives you an idea of how hard he hits the ball, that he was almost double what everybody else had on the team. And most of those guys, in fact, all those guys are hitting for a much higher average.
No, just unfortunately, it's also going right at people. You know, that's the unfortunate side of it.
It'll turn around. Too gifted for it not to. 2 outs, 1-1 count on Morneau. 2-1. This ball to second. Jerko has it. In the inning, the Rockies come up with 3 runs. Charlie Blackmon, a booming 2-run triple, and then Tulowitzki brought him around. And Colorado has a 5-2 lead as we go to the 6th. Well, Tyler Matzik living dangerously tonight. He walked 6 and gave up 4 hits, but only gave up 2 runs. The Rockies get 3 in the bottom of the 5th inning behind the Charlie Blackmon 2-run triple. So they have a 5-2 lead as we go to the 6th inning with George Frazier and Mark Stout. I'm Drew Goodman. Brooks Brown will take over in the 6th inning. The Rockies pen, after working 7 innings yesterday, George will have to try to protect this lead over the next 4 frames.
Yeah, got to come out here now and eat up 4 innings. Left-handers have hit just $143 against him. Right-handers, $273. Brown worked an inning yesterday with a hit and a strikeout. Hey, just love to see stories like this. 29 years old, finally getting a chance at the big league level. Always had a big arm. Everybody thought he had to be a starter. Went to the bullpen. I mean, you just love stories like this. Young at heart, because he's very young at the big league level. And the joy of seeing a 4-year-old daughter get dragged all through the minor leagues with his wife, trying to survive and financially, and trying to live that dream and finally getting to.
Justin Upton, cleanup man for the Padres. Last year, he hit 29 home runs, drove in more than 100 for the Atlanta Braves, captured his 2nd career Silver Slugger award. I like the location, just missed 1-1.
That's been his biggest asset. So he went down to the bullpen as just a strike thrower. Low to mid-90s fastball, good slider.
One, good slider, and it's 1-2. So Matzik goes 5 innings, Frage, a couple of runs. That's the good news. 4 hits, that's good. The 6 walks obviously is not. There's also an error behind him, so 11 base runners, as you noted. 3 punch outs, 84 pitches. The Rockies on opening day, Kyle Kendrick went 7 innings. Here's the 1-2. He's the only Rockies starting pitcher to pitch into the 7th inning this year. That has to change.
No, there's no question it has to change. If Tyler gets the win tonight, there's 6 walks in the ball game. If he gets the win, and that's still a lot of baseball left. If he gets the win, the last win to come with that many walks in a game, Darryl Kyle, May 30th, 1999, he walked 8 and won 1-0.
Well, hold on a second, because Ubaldo Jimenez threw a no-hitter and walked 6 in 2010 against Atlanta.
Well, this was the most walks, 8.
So the most walks.
The most was 8 by Darryl Kyle in 1999, and get the win in the ball game.
Eddie Butler also got a win a week and a half ago in 5 1/3. He walked 6 and didn't allow a run.
So Dougie, you gave me a note here. But this is the note with Darryl Kyle, most walks there, and to get a win.
Okay. Here's Middlebrooks, 2-0 on Will Middlebrooks.
And that was a 1-0 shutout. Wonder if that was at Coors Field. Go to work, Doug. Was it at Coors Field?
I'm saying no way it was at Coors Field.
The late great Darryl Kyle had a great curveball.
Ground ball up the middle, base hit for Middlebrooks. With every challenged call, the Subaru Eyesight Review will determine the outcome. Love, it's what makes a Subaru. 1 out, 1 on. Jed Jerko, who's walked twice, will come up.
By the way, the game was in Philadelphia. Another hitter-friendly ballpark.
Well, back then it was the Vet.
In '99, was it still?
Yeah, it was the Vet. It was
well, they had a little bit of a launch pad there too, and the Astros
and the carpet.
That's what I was telling Mark Stout the other day. I think some of the biggest changes in the game. All the new ballparks going to natural grass, and in the National League, the only team when I played in the National League back in the '80s, the only team was Wrigley.
That had natural grass.
They had natural grass. There's more in the American League, but not in the National League.
Which was the worst turf? Was it Montreal or the Vet?
No, the Montreal was great turf. I mean, they took good care. The Vet and in Pittsburgh were the 2 worst. Because you would go into the outfield to shag, and there would literally be a section of turf missing. from where the wheels, you know, because that's when they had the all-purpose stadiums, so they'd rotate the stands. And you'd look, and it was just literally the carpet and then the cement. There was no padding under it.
That's a lawsuit waiting to happen.
Well, yeah, right.
2-0, pop fly, shallow right. Cargo jogs in.
Well, the one big thing back then, guys used to wear the AstroTurf shoes when they were in the field. They'd come in to hit, they'd put on the cleats because they'd be in the dirt and they wanted to grip and all that stuff.
We were talking earlier about plantar fascia with Corey Dickerson battling that right now. One thing in the last few years that I know you guys didn't do back in your day, George, is first of all, there's a carpet over home plate now, so it's softer where they take batting practice, and everybody wears sneakers during batting practice.
Right.
They don't put the nails on.
No, and back when I was playing, everybody wore nails.
Now, a lot of guys are wearing the molded shoes. It's just easier on the feet. Yonder Alonso.
Now, the one thing that some guys did, and then they've gotten away from that, they started to wear the molded cleat while playing out in the field on the infield. And then you start to slip and slide a little bit, feet go out from underneath you. It's a comfort thing, but as you can see, the steel cleats on here. It's Will Middlebrooks at first base.
2-0. Brown working here in the 6th inning. Rockies up 5-2. Trying to snap a 4-game slide win for the 2nd time at home. The Rockies just 1-3 in the early going at Coors Field. Gave that game away against the Cubs a week ago Sunday, and then the real tough one last night. Ground ball to Morneau. Kick save.
Yeah, did that look like a goalie, huh?
He did. He did. He actually wasn't a kick save. He had all leather there.
It's all leather, but I'm telling you, the move with the legs, the whole thing, that's a goalie. I'm telling you, Mike Fox, David Strand. Boy, you're proud of that one right there, aren't you? Look at that. That's beautiful.
Raffle, it's your chance to win a $2.5 million dream house or $2 million in cash. Also help out a great cause. Visit milehighraffle.com. That's milehighraffle.com for more information. Rockies with a 5-2 lead as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Nick Hundley to face Brandon Morrow.
Yeah, he's still out there. I mean, he's given up many hits, 6 to the Rockies, but they've been able to put big hits together.
Well, they put triples together. Hundley has one to drive in a run. And a 2-run triple last inning from Charlie Blackmon. For Nick, that was his first triple in a couple of years. 12th career triple.
Well, the other 11, I think, with the Padres probably had to be, unless he had one last year.
No, he didn't have one last year. It was all with the Padres. 2-0. Hundley drives this again with authority to right, and Kemp gets back in the corner to make the catch.
Follow the Rockies baseball in 2015 with MLB.com at your phone, smartphones, tablets, featuring score, stats, highlights, and a whole lot more. Download MLB.com at today.
DJ, a line drive to right, and an RBI ground out.
You know, Rafael Betancourt has started to toss the baseball down in the Rockies bullpen. Everybody got a little action, unfortunately, last night.
Two balls and a strike on DJ. One would guess the last inning of work for Morrow, considering he's due up at second next inning.
Mars down warming up in their bullpen right now, so that's another right-hander getting loose.
DJ on the previous swing, George, he got a pitch, like a slider, and it was middle in, and he opened his hips early and looked to drive the balls he did to left for the home run in Los Angeles. So every once in a while, even though his bat path and keeps his hands inside and goes to right so frequently, he will try to turn on a pitch on occasion.
If he can get the read and get what he needs, yeah, won't hesitate at all. Yeah, that was just off speed enough that that's where Clint looked at him and said, "What part of you? I got it. You don't understand."
2 outs. That'll bring up Drew Stubbs.
So I guess they went to the nose shop, huh?
Looks that way. High fly ball center field. Myers has it, a 1-2-3 6th inning for Morrow. So we turn the page to inning number 7. The Rockies 5 and the Padres 2. Rafael Betancourt will be next. Right now it's 5-2 Colorado as we go to the top of the 7th inning. Let's check in with Mark Stout.
Hey, Drew, we're looking forward to Sunday when we celebrate the 20th anniversary of Coors Field. It's going to be a big day. We're kind of flashing back to show you some of the highlights from the stadium. Let's go back to June 30th, 2006. Eric Young steals 6 bases, ties an MLB record, stole home in that game. The Rockies would beat the Dodgers 16-15, 6 stolen bases in a game. Eric Young is right in front of me, guys, and tomorrow I'm going to sit down with him and talk a lot about he being at Coors Field as a player, as an opponent, as a coach, and as a father, seeing EY Jr. play here too. It's going to be fun. You'll see that on Rockies Weekly coming up on Sunday, guys.
Will you yell to EY and say that's the worst slide for a base stealer I've ever seen, the one, the video we just showed?
Hey, EY, we just showed your highlights. They said it was a bad slide in 2006.
Mark.
Yeah.
Mark, Drew was just kidding. Mark, he's got work to do. Mark, stop. He's got work to do. Don't do everything Drew told you to do just because he's older than you and you went to the same college.
Right.
Actually, we went to the same college, but Mark's older than me.
Oh, he is?
Yeah. This is Corey Spangenberg pinch hitting, and he drives it to deep left center field. And he's going to have a leadoff double. So Spangenberg pinch hits for Barmes and promptly doubles off of Brooks Brown.
Last time Brownie went 2 innings was April the 10th. A couple innings in that ball game. Out of the hand, high fastball, never got to the bottom of the zone. Drove out into left center field, split the gap between Charlie and Stubbs, and one hopped up into the wall.
Alexi Amarista is going to pinch hit. He'll obviously go into the ball game at shortstop now that Barmes is out of there. Diminutive, versatile player. I say versatile because he can play center field for you. He can play in the middle of the infield. He's starting at shortstop against right-handers. We showed you the stat a little while ago. I know Spangenberg crossed it up, but Brown has been better against left-handed hitters than right-handed hitters. He gets the out there. Spangenberg moves to third with 1 out.
143 left-handers have hit against Brooks Brown on the year. 243 or I think 253 for right-handed hitters. You know, that conversation, I wasn't on the mound obviously, but a lot of times a middle infielder comes in and goes, look, you got 1 out. Let's don't turn this into a big inning. You go get this guy. If they score the run, they score the run. But that's just one. We still got a 5-3 ball game. You make a mistake here, and this kid hurts you. Now you're in the top of their lineup working through it. Just try to get you an out right here. Get a ball on the ground. Do whatever you can to get the out. It's his inning to clean up. I mean, there's nobody going down the Rockies bullpen right now.
1-0 on Will Myers. Fastball on the outside corner for a strike at 95. Dale Thayer and Moore can throw hard now. The other guy brings it. That's what we were discussing earlier. Dougie did a little research so far this year. The league average against starting pitchers is 265, and against bullpens, actually 255, and against bullpens it's 225. This ball is lined to left. That'll score a run. In fact, it'll be a double for Myers.
Yeah, this is what we're talking about, not letting that inning get carried away with you. That's what you don't want to have happen.
Myers with 9 RBIs, batting in that leadoff spot for Bud Black.
You know, coming right out of the hand, slider. See how the ball stayed up though? That wasn't a good pitch. And Brown will tell you, hanging slider almost chest high. Shot down into that left field corner.
This is Brown's inning. The Rockies had Betancourt up when they were on offense. Raffy has taken a seat. Nobody up in the Rockies pen. Derek Norris 1 for 3.
You got 3 right-handed hitters in a row.
Line drive center field. It's going to stay up for Drew Stubbs. 2 outs. And now the dangerous Matt Kemp. And Raffy's going to get up a second time.
Well, he kind of figured that. He was probably going to come on to pitch the 8th inning. He was warming up previously in preparation in case the Rockies needed a pinch hit there with Matzik coming up. So he's farther along than anybody else's number that you could pull. And quite honestly, they're pulling the right number with this guy because he's been very successful this year.
It's a right-handed dominant lineup. And that's why you kind of probably removed Boone Logan from the equation late tonight.
Friedrich's out of the equation. 3 innings yesterday. He's done. Kemp's 0 for 2 in his career versus Brown.
It's a big at bat because obviously he's a tying run at the plate. Kemp's off to a tremendous start. RBI single in the 3rd. His 14th ribby of the young season. 1 for 3 tonight. Padres came into the ball game the highest scoring team in the National League. I know what you're seeing at home. When was the last time that was said?
1998 when they went to the World Series.
You know what? I don't even know if it was that. Have they ever been the highest scoring team in the league?
Well, they haven't had
it's always been about pitching.
Yeah, they haven't had hitter-friendly ballparks to play in.
Got a whole bunch of new guys, new to them, but not new to the game and not new to success at this level. 1 and 2 on Kemp.
Yeah, I like the 2-strike noise. Gets a little more adrenaline upon you if you're standing on the mound pitching.
Ooh, where's that?
Could have been, would have been, was it, should have been. I'll take a look at it on the 4th strike zone. That'll help us out a little bit here. It says it's off the plate. Pretty close to take if you got 2 strikes there, Mr. Goodman.
Go out there again because something tells me he's not going to take that pitch twice.
Well, the thing is, you got a very good hitter standing up there at the plate. I don't think I would personally go slider here and take it off of the plate. I think just because if he looked out there, maybe he'd chase that slider. You don't want it to run back to the middle. Nick Hundley with the slow group where he took that glove and kind of stuck it up behind him. It was a changeup at 87. A lot of times you see catchers will wiggle the glove or hold it up behind a hitter, an indication to let the left side of the infield know they're going off speed in case they're covering up, because the catcher is going to cover up that sign sometimes where they may not see it or may not know the sequence of things, so they're just letting him know at third. We got an off-speed pitch, be prepared. May get out in front of this.
3-2. Took that off the plate at 95. And now Upton will come up. 7 walks issued tonight by the Rockies. They have a 5-3 lead. Nick Hundley will go out and visit with Brown in his 2nd inning of work. Upton this evening is 0 for 3, a couple of strikeouts. He owns a 16-game hitting streak against the Rockies.
Now Walt's asking, is he ready? Meaning, is Rafael Betancourt ready to come into this ball game? Walt's going to make a double switch.
He's got to do that because he wants Raffy in the 8th inning, and the pitcher spot is due to lead off in the bottom half of the inning. So Descalso will come in. DJ is going to come off the field. So Brooks Brown jogs off. 2 outs, 2 on. 5-3 Rockies. We're in the 7th. To take over, 2 on, 2 outs. Justin Upton coming up here in the 7th inning. The day after every Rockies victory, get 50% off your online order at Papa John's. Use the promo code ROXWIN at papajohns.com.
Take a look at Rafael Betancourt making his 8th appearance. Rafi is 1-for-1 save opportunities. Thrown 7 innings. He struck out 9.
Will Myers doubled in a run. He's at second. Matt Kemp just walked. He is at first base. The inning began with a Corey Spangenberg pinch hit double to deep left center. 5-3 Colorado. Padres have out-hit the Rockies 7-6 this evening for what that's worth right now. Again, Upton's 0 for 3. A little inside move to see if he can get it stealing out. So Descalso comes in at second base. So that's always, listen, Daniel's a veteran guy. I'm sure Walt paused before he made that move because you hate on the plus side late in the game to take DJ off the field.
Very difficult move to make there. Your hottest hitter, one of the biggest RBI guys on the ball club. Not easy to do. Not easy to make that choice. High with that fastball.
Especially on a night where you're without 2 of your big boppers in Dickerson and Arenado. 1-0 on Upton.
Good fastball here. Let's take a look at the Rockies bullpen. First 9 ball games, 33 innings thrown. The opposition .49, ERA good, team record good. The last 4, it's had a little bit of a difficulty. Do you think it's overused? What's the reasoning? I think it's playing against the Dodgers and the Padres, 2 very good offensive ball clubs. 15 1/3, 338, and 0-4 team record. Not that it all coincides with your bullpen, but coincides with the starters not working deep into the games, having to eat up a lot of innings. And Betancourt falls behind 3-0. Typically a strike thrower supreme. Upton in his career is 1 for 11 against Rafi with just that 1 hit I don't want to talk about. How you like that?
I understand. 3-0 on Upton. Rockies amazingly have allowed only 3 runs because there have been 15 base runners for the Padres. 7 hits, 7 walks, and an error. He had to spot that fastball, George, because you got to figure Upton had the green light. And he did spot it low and away. 3-1.
And Justin's always been a good middle half up fastball hitter.
This ball in the air to left, and Blackman will cruise over. Rafael Betancourt does his thing, and the Rockies get off the field, allowing just 1. Stretch time at Coors Field. Colorado 5 and the Padres 3. back. Colorado's #1 volume Lexus dealer. Clint Barmes hit a solo home run. Padres a home run in 9 straight games. Nick Conley a triple to drive in a run. His first triple since being with the Padres in 2012, despite the effort of Matt Kemp. Rockies would get another triple to drive in 2 from Charlie Blackmon on a slider down and in. As we go to the bottom of the 7th inning, the Rockies will try to add on. They're up 5-3. Hard throwing Brandon Mowers now out there. Daniel Descalso, who came in at second base, is leading things off. Alexi Amarista stays in. Clint Barmes was pinch hit for by Corey Spangenberg, so Amarista at short. Descalso, a career .350 hitter against the Padres. It's in there. It's 0-2.
Well, Drew mentioned how hard Maurer throws the baseball. 4 games that he's been in. ERA got jumped up just because of a couple of ball games. Left-handers have hit .429 against him.
Mauer's another one of those guys that can touch 100. Gets a strikeout there on a slider, and it's the first out of the inning. Rafi Noah will come up. Boone Logan is throwing in the Rockies bullpen. You got Middlebrooks, Jerko, and then the left-handed hitting Alonso, and the big bat left on Bud Black's bench, of course, is Will Venable, a left-handed hitter.
Yeah, and I think too in your mind you're thinking, how many times has Rafi finished up an inning, came back, sit down, and put the jacket on, and go back up and warmed up again? You know, it's the other side you look at. He should be able to do it. Shouldn't be any problem at all.
Pop up left side, Amarista closing. And in foul ground, he makes the catch. Morrow allowed 5 runs in 6 innings on 6 hits, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. Blackmon, the big 2-run triple in the 5th inning. 1 for 3 tonight. Brown gives up a run in an inning and 2/3 out of the Rockies' pen. Here's the 0-1 downstairs. Go from Brandon Morrow to Brandon Maurer.
Yeah. Both pretty good throwers, obviously. First 15,000 through the gate Saturday, you're going to receive Vinny Castilla drink beverage wraps. Brought to you by Donate Life Colorado. So make sure you get out here to the ballpark this Saturday as the Giants come to town.
There's Vinny. 3-2. Rockies with 5 runs tonight. That's kind of been their number at home. 4 games this year. All 3 games against the Cubs. A win and 2 losses, and then 3 last night. They haven't had that explosive game yet at home. You know, a bunch are coming though. 3-2. This ball's well hit deep right field. Kemp going back. Oh, what a catch by Matt Kemp. I don't think Charlie realized till just now he made the catch. He was halfway to third, still going full tilt. That saved another triple. Look at this catch. That's a heck of a play by Matt Kemp. Rockies up by 2 runs going to the 8th.
Coming to bat, obviously. Earlier today, we want to show you what happened. Sharon Robinson, that's Jackie's daughter, was in town. And with MLB, she's got the Breaking Barriers program. This is 19 years running. You see LaTroy Hawkins with her. They were at Bethlehem Lutheran Elementary on Wadsworth Boulevard in Lakewood because Aiden Hamilton was the 4th and 5th grade winner for the Breaking Barriers contest. He was honored here tonight as well. I talked to LaTroy Hawkins. He said he goes back with this program to 1997. A great day to have Sharon Robinson at the ballpark.
Mark, thank you. I got to meet Aiden earlier. LaTroy was giving him a tour of the Rockies clubhouse and clubhouse area. What a bright young man. Leadoff single here in the 8th inning for Will Middlebrooks against Rafael Betancourt. That'll bring up Jed Jerko. 5-3 Colorado. Rockies trying to snap a 4-game slide. Boone Logan continues to throw in the Rockies bullpen. Yonder Alonso's on deck. Pitcher spot is after that. Chris Rierick, who was in the ball game yesterday, one of the 2 lefties for Bud Black, is up in their pen.
Well, he's the guy when they're either tied or down in the ball game. Rierick last night, a couple of hits, a run given up, walked the batter.
Good pitch from Betancourt. Notice the velo's up a little bit too from earlier in the year. I know we're still early in the year, but the first week it was more 88, 89. Last couple of appearances, we've seen a bunch of 91s.
Just getting stronger. I mean, you know, even though he had a whole year last year, but it's a matter of that arm strength, the season kicking in a little bit.
And as you pointed out, George, on many occasions, he looks like he throws harder than that because he hides the baseball so well.
Well, it's short, quick arm action right over the top. Threw the ball by him at 91, a little bit elevated that time. But a big strikeout by Rafael Betancourt. Yeah, another look at this. See how he hides the ball so well on the Subaru Supermo. Running fastball.
So Raffy does his job in that he gets Jerko. So there's 1 out, 1 on, and now Alonso coming up. And Walt will go bring Boone Logan in. Colorado 5 and the Padres 3. We're in the 8th. What's next? Pitching matchup tomorrow. James Shields in his 4th start for the Padres against Kyle Kendrick, making his 4th start with his new club. So it's Kendrick for the Rockies, Shields tomorrow for the Padres. We're on the air. The pregame show at 6 o'clock. Rafael Betancourt got the final out of the 7th inning with 2 men on. Gave up a hit to Middlebrook, struck out Jerko. So there's 1 out in the 8th. Yonder Alonso is at the plate. Alonso facing Boone Logan.
Pitched pretty well. 7th appearance, 6 innings so far, 8 strikeouts. You get to pick on Alonso here. You hope to get the double play ball. Solarte and Nieves, the only 2 right-handed bats on the bench for the Padres. Nieves will be saved, obviously, because he is the only backup catcher. Solarte will hit.
Jan Hervés is a switch hitter. Will Venables, the other bat on the bench for Bud Black, he went 1-1. Tulowitzki shaded almost right up the middle. And Boone's ahead 1-2. What makes a difference, George, when the arm feels good, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you know, he had the surgery before the Rockies had signed him. And Dean pretty healthy, felt good. And then unfortunately during the year, it just reappeared, had to have surgery at the end, and it just, now you're back. I mean, he's not the 95, 97 guy he was when he was with the White Sox. That hurt in both ways. Way well ahead in the count, 0-1-2. And then catches Alonso on the backside.
Well, the Rockies are destined to make this as difficult as they can tonight.
Well, they've given him opportunities. There's the old butt shot. So, you know, now he's at first base. You got first and second. When you're heading to count 1 ball, 2 strikes, trying to go away with a fastball.
Jan Hervés, Solarte. For 2 this year batting right-handed, a career .228 hitter right-handed. Put the stats up a moment ago. Boone has handled right-handed hitters this year very well. 2 on and 1 out. This ball is going to drop into right field. It's going to score a run. And Alonso's going to go first to third, and it's a 5-4 ball game right off the end of the bat. Now how big was that hit batter on a 1-2 pitch?
That's huge, obviously. They're pinch hitters tonight. Spangenberg hit that double into left center field. He scored. And now Solarte comes up with a base hit with runners at first and second, scores the run. That's a slider cutting in. Hit right off of the end of the bat. He was so far out in front of this thing. Right off the end of the bat, dumped into the outfield.
Now you got a tough man to double up. And Alexi Amarista. Alonso's a tying run at third. He lays down a bunt. He can go home with it. He couldn't. And the tag's made out at the plate, despite the fact that Boone Logan struggled to get the ball out of his glove. It was a safety squeeze, and the Rockies get the out at the plate.
Tell you what, you're destined to get a W. Things have happened in this game that you just kind of look at, shake your head. The back pick on a run down at home plate on the overthrow where Barnes ran past third, bounced right up to him. Boone Logan acting like an 18-year-old on the mound. He just bounced off of this thing, fielded it with the glove, hesitated, and fired a bullet. I mean a bullet right where you want it, on the fly, out in front of the plate area, and he's got to slide around, able to apply the tag. Man, how nice is this? Tell you what, it's a thing of beauty there.
Not out of the woods yet. Will Myers 2 for 3 and a walk, single and a double tonight, the leadoff man for San Diego. Slider for a strike. 5-4 Colorado. Single run in the 7th, and now one here in the 8th. To tighten things up considerably. The Rockies had a 5-2 lead 2 innings back. Well, you thought the fact that he struggled to get it out of his glove was going to cost the Rockies the opportunity to get him. Fortunately, Alonso is a below average runner.
Yeah, absolutely. And fortunately, too, realistically, when Boone throws the ball, he kind of comes home plate a little bit first base side, and Amarista bunted the ball where he had to come off on the first base side. Now, if he pushes it up the third base line or takes it a little more up the line at first, probably don't have a play. That's all going the Rockies' way. That's the way it should be.
Boy, that's a good pickup by Hundley.
He's done a nice job blocking the ball all year. I mean, you trust your hands. You know, you anticipate slider down and in. Pretty nice job sliding over and keeping that in the mid. Tough pitch to block.
2-1 on Will Myers. Good speed at second in Solarte. This is on Boone Logan. Nobody up in the Rockies bullpen, and obviously the next guy the Rockies will go to is their closer, Ottavino. And some of this a byproduct of all the work the Rockies had to do last night. Maybe if Ottavino didn't throw last night, you ask him to get 4 outs with all these righties at the top of the lineup. That is going to be a base hit, and it's going to tie up the game. Five. 3-hit night for Will Myers, 2 RBIs for the leadoff man for San Diego.
Well, unfortunately, you live on the edge long enough, you're going to fall off it. And the Rockies' bases loaded numerous times. Even though this ball's not hit very hard at all. Outer location, down on the zone. Myers, a big kid, 6'5", just reached out, flipped his bat in front of it. Charlie, very accurate throw to the plate, but not in time to get Solarte. Really good speed out at second now with Amarista out there. Derek Norris 0 for 1 in his career versus Boone Logan.
The Rockies have lived on the edge throughout this game. To be perfectly frank, they're fortunate that it's 5-5. They've allowed 10 hits. They've walked 7 collectively, 6 by Tyler Matzik. There was an error defensively by Rafael Inoa, and Boone Logan a couple hitters ago hit a man. That's 19 base runners, yet only 5 have scored. Derek Norris a double back in the third, 1 for 4. Inside corner. The decision now is on the bullpens. Morrow will get a no decision. He's taken off the hook. Matzik no longer a chance for a victory. It's 3-1. We got a fastball count for a dangerous hitter in Derek Norris.
I know it sounds silly. Get him here right now. And the reason why, you get to 3-2 with 2 outs. You got great speed on the bases. And if they're off and running with the pitch on a 3-2 count.
This ball toward the gap, right center field. Can Stubbs get there? Nope. Amarista is going to score. The trail runner Myers will score easily. It's a 2-run double for Norris. And this thing's come unraveled here in the 8th for the Rockies. 7-5 San Diego.
Seven RBIs on the season for Derek Norris. A drive into right center. Stubb taking an angle, thought he had it just out of his reach. And I mean, just out of the reach of Stubb. See the ball. I mean, just a whisker from being caught. And unfortunately not. And Boone Logan has come on here, and there's been 4 runs put on the board by the San Diego Padres.
And for me, the big at bat, George, he's ahead of Alonso, left on left, 1 and 2, and he plunks him.
Exactly.
You get Alonso there. There's 2 outs. Who knows what happens after that? I mean, the same thing could have happened. We understand that. But now you just got to get 1. One of the guys you're facing is Amarista, left on left, who laid down the bunt. So you like Boone Logan's chances.
Troy Hawkins has gotten up and started to throw the baseball.
And 2-1 again. Offensive counts all inning long for San Diego, with the exception of when Alonso was up there. Pitch that was drilled to right center field by Derek Norris was a 3-1 delivery. The guys at this level are really good with 2-0, 3-1 counts. And it's another 3-1 count here. Next inning, the Rockies will have Tulowitzki, Gonzalez, Morneau offensively. Stubbs will be able to corral this one. That'll end the inning, but not before the Padres put 4 on the board, turn a 5-3 deficit into a 7-5 advantage. By T-Mobile, Derek Norris with 2 outs on a 3-1 pitch unloads a drive to right center field, and it gives the Padres a 2-run lead. Beyond the outstretched glove of Drew Stubbs, that's our T-Mobile game changer. Joaquin Benoit, who was the closer last year for the Padres, has been moved for the most part to the 8th inning when they picked up a guy by the name of Craig Kimbrell. Comes in. He already has a save and 3 victories this year. Solarte stays in the ball game at second base. So Jerko comes out. Very good. This is the inning because Kimbrell very rarely gives up anything.
Yeah, he really does. The other day in Chicago was the only time I've seen it in a long time for him to get in trouble. This guy's got some gas. 3-0 record already over 8 games. A lot of come from behind wins. 1.13 ERA. 8 innings, 8 punch outs.
First pitch strike at 94 on Tulowitzki. Troy a double and a sac fly. 1 for 2 tonight. Two and one. Slider's a strike. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Troy. This ball's pulled foul. Benoit typically works around 94. He's been up to 98 this year. One out in the 8th.
That just overloaded gas. 96. Went back, got a little extra, and could have put it in a better location, down and in with a hard sinker right on the black inside corner. Well, how about the Cubs? They won again, 9-8 over Pittsburgh. They got 3 runs off of Malika, and the closer for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Cincinnati over Milwaukee 16-10. That game's in the top of the 9th.
The Brewers are staring at a 2-12 start. Here's Cargo.
Well, there's a few home runs, Drew, hit in the game with Cincinnati and Milwaukee. Maldonado hit his first and the 3rd off Marquez. Herrera hit one in the 6th. Holy cow. How about this? Bruce hit his 3rd. Frazier hit his 4th. Votto hit his 6th home run of the year.
One ball, one strike on Cargo.
For a Rocky, Jason Marquis, 5 innings, 9 hits, 5 runs. He didn't walk a batter, struck out 8.
Fastball outside. It's 2-2. Joaquin Benoit with the 2-2 pitch to Cargo. Morneau's on deck. Rockies trail by a pair of runs. They had a 5-2 lead. On end a 4-game losing streak. Two outs. A walk, a single, and a ground ball to second tonight for Justin. This ball is pulled. Oh, wow. Solarte just took a hit from Morneau. A 1-2-3 inning for Joaquin Benoit. And we'll go to the ninth inning. 7-5 San Diego.
Well, when a play Jerko did it early in the ball game against Cargo, now on Morneau.
Brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. By Mike Shaw Subaru, always our lowest price and sales and service guaranteed. And by Jack in the Box. Jack's hottest sandwich is back. Head to Jack in the Box for Jack's Blazing Chicken Sandwich. Rockies had a 5-2 lead. They now are down by a pair of runs in the ninth inning. To center field we go, and Jenny Kavanaugh. Jenny?
Thanks for coming up on the Toyota postgame show. We're going to talk about hanging off the edge. Rockies pitchers flirting with disaster on the base path all night. That includes 7 walks for them. Let's talk a little Nick at night. Nick Conley gets back at his former team, the Padres, with a triple that scored a run earlier. And despite Charlie Blackmon's triple efforts, the Rockies now find themselves behind. We'll get you in the clubhouse, and hopefully that is after some rally ball. Drew?
All right, Jenny, we appreciate it. Justin Upton will bat here leading off the ninth inning for the Padres. And the Troy Hawkins will try to keep it a 2-run game.
And you'd like to see a season start all over again. Obviously, 1260 earned run average. He's 1 of 3 in save opportunities. 7 strikeouts in 5 innings thrown. Left-handers 273. Right-handers an alarming number 462. Well, for LaTroy, veteran guy, you realize you're going to scuffle over a 10-12 day period at times during the course of a season. Faith in the manager, faith in yourself and your ability to go out and work. Hopefully have a good inning here.
Upton 0 for 4, a couple punch outs in the game. He had hit 16 straight coming in against the Rockies. Active hit streaks against the Rockies. Hunter Pence, who's injured right now, as I'm sure you're aware, also has hit 16 straight against the Rockies. Miguel Cabrera is going to have to wait a while if he wants to extend that, so the Rockies don't play the Tigers this year. Two and one. Been a night of 3-1 counts, hasn't it?
I've seen a lot of them. I just wanted to see myself personally. I want to look at some numbers here. You know, when you're working ahead in counts, and so in other words, if your pitch count, let's say you got 100 pitches, you'd like to be at 75 for strikes. Base hit up the middle, out of the reach of Tulowitzki at shortstop.
Now a 17-game hitting streak against the Rockies for Upton. And that is the 12th hit tonight for San Diego, after having 17 last night. Will Middlebrooks will come up.
Well, the thing about it, you're going into the 7th inning when they were still trailing in this ball game. They'd only gotten 5 hits. They've had 7 in the last 3.
How about this 2-run ball game? Upton's coming off the field, and Andrew Kashner, with the blonde locks, is going to pinch run. Kashner today during batting practice was the infield first baseman. Carr going right will make the catch. And pinch hitting in the pitcher's spot will be Will Venable with 1 out.
By the way, the Rockies pitching staff tonight has thrown 79 strikes, 74 balls.
Wondering why Upton came out. He's been dealing with a strained quad coming into the series. Venable last night hit a towering 2-run home run that just grazed off, I should say, the very end of Cargo's glove in right center field.
Ball into right center, as Drew mentioned. Cargo got right there to the very end of the wall, and you see him jump up. When it does, it hit right on out on the heel of the glove and into the Rockies bullpen.
Job by Hawkins. He caught Kashner asleep.
Now Valentin arguing a point about whether he balked or not. I don't know that you can argue. Can you argue that on appeal?
Kashner doesn't want to move. Bud Black's going to come out. He's going to challenge the out call. Can't appeal the balk.
Yeah, they're wanting the headsets. They're going to have him bring him out. They're on the third base line. That is a balk, by the way, but hope he gets away with it. Because when he comes set, he's really leaning forward with his upper half. Go back and see if we can. Take a look at Troy. I mean, the throws there and time tags in there, he's out. But let's look back at LaTroy here from the side as he goes to the home plate area. Watch when he comes set. See here, as you start leaning forward, if you start to lean a lot, as if you're going forward to the plate, then you got to. Once you commit, you got to go.
Yeah, but you can't review a balk.
That's what I didn't think you can, but what else are you going to review?
That he got his hand in, I guess. Time for a Subaru review. Whether you're on the road or at the game, everybody could use a second set of eyes.
He's safe. They've already ruled it. Safe at first. Wow. Yeah, that looked there kind of tough because you can't really see. I mean, it tags up on the elbow. Morneau gives you an indication that he's out. And he immediately pointed. See, Valentine's pointed at Troy. Anyway, he's still at first. Doesn't really matter.
Yeah, you can't review because listen, if they came back and said he balked, which you can't review it, he'd be on second base. That's not reviewable.
Well, what I got caught off guard with was what Jose Valentin was doing. He jumped immediately. He wasn't pointing there. He's pointing straight at Hawkins. It's a good move on Hawk's part to get away with something like that. Got a few of those called on me by Bach and Bob Davidson back in AAA. He'll like that if he's home on vacation. I'm not the first guy to call him Bach and Bob. Nor will I be the last.
1-2 on Venable. And this thing is looping towards Blackman and left, who closes quickly for the out. Off the bat, I thought that may be trouble. 2 gone. This is going to be a better look.
He's safe.
See, Valentin initially, he's not even worried about the play. He's saying that Hawkins balked.
Well, they ended up checking it, went their favor. You know what? There's 2 outs now, the runners at first base. Clean up the inning. Get out of this mess.
That's a base hit for Alonso. That'll bring up Solarte. Kimbrel warming naturally in the Padres bullpen. The Rockies have Hundley, the pitcher spot, and then Stubbs due in the bottom of the 9th.
San Diego, a lot of opportunities, runners in scoring position tonight. 6 for 14. The Rockies, on the other hand, 1 for 4.
Six for 14. Obviously, that's a great number. But the fact that you had 14 opportunities speaks to how much traffic there's been. Tulo, good pickup, and a feed to Descal, so he stayed on the bat. That'll end the inning. So we'll go to the bottom of the 9th inning. The Rockies will need to be special against one of the great closers in the game, Craig Kimbrel. It's 7-5 San Diego. Who Wants Tacos fans, follow at @RootSports_RM on Twitter to receive alerts when the Rockies score 7 or more for the Rockies Taco Special, courtesy of Taco Bell. So Craig Kimbrel is on the hill, who has saved more games than anybody else in baseball the last 4 years. The Padres startled the baseball world when they pulled off that trade 24 hours before the opener with Atlanta. Kimbrel did kick one recently against the Chicago Cubs. That makes national headlines. And the good news is you see Corey Dickerson swinging a bat. Came out of the ball game yesterday, plantar fasciitis. Did not start, obviously, tonight, but he's available. You have Nick Hundley, then the pitcher spot, and then Drew Stubbs, who's been struggling with the bat. I saw Rosario with a helmet on also.
Well, Dickerson, he gets up with somebody on it to send it out of the ballpark. 142 earned run average. Innings pitched 6 1/3, 7 strikeouts, 3 walks. The other day against Cubs, couldn't handle the slider in the strike zone. 97 with the first offering of the fastball. He's 0 for 1 in his career versus Kimbrel.
That's about where he's going to sit. 97, 98 with the fastball. Another guy will touch triple digits.
I've told the story a couple of times.
This ball's well hit right center field. Did Nick get it all? You bet! Hundley makes it a 1-run game. First Colorado Rockies home run for Nick Hundley.
Kimbrel's not been invincible there. I mean, he is a guy that they can put some numbers against. He's had 7 games at Coors, 6 of 7 in save opportunities. 7 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs, and Hundley gets a fastball. Drives it deep to right field on a Subaru Supermo out of the hand of Kimbrel into the hands of a lucky fan in right field.
The Rockies are going to change things up now. They'll have Willeen Rosario hit the pitcher spot, and Dickerson will go to the on-deck circle. He was in the on-deck circle a moment ago, so he's just going to stay there.
Rosario 1 for 5 in his career.
Oh, 1 on Willeen.
I just remember watching, I think it was 2009, he was pitching for Rome, Georgia. And the Rockies were playing the Atlanta Braves on Monday, and I got back and I mentioned to Bobby Cox, you got a guy about 5'9" throwing 100 miles an hour in Rome, Georgia with a 93-mile-an-hour slider. A year later, he's saving games in the playoffs for Bobby Cox and the Atlanta Braves, and well, the rest of that story is pretty much history. And chase that hard slider down and away.
Kimbrel was a 3rd-round pick in the 08 draft out of Wallace State Community College in Alabama. Two and 2. Fastball at 98. See if Willeen can run into one. Got the slider at 87, 1 out. So Corey Dickerson will pinch hit.
That's the hardest part about the job that Willeen's trying to conquer this year is coming off the end of at the end of a ball game and taking a shot against some of the best closers in all of baseball. And that's the hardest thing about being a pinch hitter, a power pinch hitter late in games. I mean, that's what you're there for, that one swing to try to win it or tie it.
Great fastball hitter against a guy with a premier arm. It's Kimbrel against Dickerson with 1 out in a 1-run game. Ball 1. And Hundley with a home run to begin the inning. Kimbrel 190 saves since 2010, 13 more than Papelbon. Second on that list. The former Rocky, Houston Street, has saved 150. He's now with the Angels. He saved a lot of ball games with the Padres.
99 with that fastball on a hop, skip, and a jump to Corey Dickerson.
Just thinking if he reaches, is there anybody who could run for him?
Well, you got to go to your starting staff. Probably Lyles, pretty good athlete, swings bat, used to being on a base path. You don't like to do that with your starting pitcher, but you may not have a choice.
Since the save became an official stat, Eric Gagne #1 in save percentage, 91.7 all time. Kimbrel's next at 90.9. 2-1. On the ground, off of Alonso. Dickerson scampering, won't get there. 2 outs. I'll tell you the good news in that, the only bit of good news is Dickerson got up the line pretty well.
Yes, he did.
Rockies down to their last out. It's Daniel Descalso.
Now one hopper, hard one hopper, just took it off the chest. And see Dickerson giving his best effort that he could to get up through there, to get on time, to flip over to Kimbrel, and they're able to get Dickerson.
Descalso second at bat. He came into the ball game in a double switch in the 7th inning. Struck out his first time up. 7-6 San Diego. And a high pop up, shallow right center field. Tough play, and the catch was made by Alexi Amarista, and the Padres win it in come from behind fashion, 7-6. Amarista ran a long way to get that, and with the catch, the Rockies have now lost 5 straight. And this one really smarts in that they had a 5-2 lead. The bullpen could not hold it, and the Padres win it 7-6. The Rockies just 1-4 so far at Coors Field. And to be perfectly honest, George, the way the Rockies pitched tonight, when you walk 7, hit a batter, there's also 1 error in the field, not to mention 14 hits. That number of base runners, had they won, they would have considered themselves most fortunate.
Very fortunate. I mean, there's no way that you would anticipate with that many walks and a hit batsman to get a win. And Craig Kimbrel's going to walk out of here with his 5th save on the season, but still yet, I mean, you know what? This is a ball game that, because of all the walks and everything that went on, and then he had a chance to swing the bats. Yeah, Bud Black, you're pretty happy right now. You should be. You got a club that can really get after it offensively.
22 base runners allowed by Colorado tonight are Jimmy John's delivery of the game. In the 8th inning, Derek Norris got a 3-1 pitch, and he drove 2 home to give the Padres a 7-5 lead. Of course, they'd hang on in the 9th inning. Kimbrel got the save, and they win it 7-6. Bauer's the winning pitcher. Boone Logan takes the loss. The Rockies fall to 500. When we come back, Jenny will have the Toyota postgame show.